So great. So thanks very much for this. So this is session AO,
Right.
Empowering Legacy, Bridging the Gap with Mainframe Modernization. I'll let you introduce yourself and also say how you want people to ask questions and what sort of times you're going to run to and everything. So thanks very much for joining this session go for it.
Yep. Thanks, Manju. All right. So good morning, good evening, and good afternoon to everyone who could take out time today to join this session. First of all, I'm really thankful for giving me this opportunity in GSE UK. And I'll start first with my introduction, and then I'll turn off my camera so that I'll use the bandwidth for sharing and talking. Okay, so my name is Yogini Upadhyay. I'm from BMC India. I work as a product manager for the product that focuses on mainframe modernization and provides world-class developer experience for the mainframe developers. So with that, I'll just turn off my camera and I will jump on, I'll start sharing. Okay. Let me start sharing first. I hope you see my screen.
Yeah, it looks good. We can see your title slide with the kind of blue and the GSE.
Sure. Yep.
Thanks.
All right. So today I will delve into the exciting world of mainframe modernization, unveiling its potential to revolutionize traditional systems and propel us into the future. If you have any questions or need further clarification or on anything we have discussed, please feel free to bring them up at the end. Your input is valuable and I can assist you in any way I can. So with that said, let's jump on to the first slide. Mainframes, timeless backbone of digital evolution. So as you know, we recently celebrated 60th birthday of mainframes. IBM's mainframe show its remarkable evolution and adaptability to continuously meet our evolving demands of business and industries. So cheers to its 60-year journey of resilience and enduring impact on the technology frontier. Forrester senior analyst Brent Ellis well said, great technology doesn't really go away. It finds the niche it was made for, which is really true in case of mainframes. Mainframes remain important for several reasons. They can handle mission-critical workloads with minimum downtime. That shows how reliable and how stable they are. Capable of handling massive volumes of transactions and data, thus making them well-suited for data-intensive and high-demand applications. Mainframes are equipped with robust security feature to protect data, which ensures access control and compliance with regulatory requirements. As you know, they are cost efficient. You can run multiple workloads consolidated onto a single platform, reducing hardware, software, and operational expenses. Organizations can easily modernize their mainframe environments by adopting virtualization, DevOps practices, cloud architecture, and that proves mainframes are flexible. Moving on to my next slide, what is mainframe modernization? Mainframe modernization, in today's rapidly evolving world, who can resist the allure of modernization? As per experts, modernization is the process of updating legacy mainframe systems in areas like interface, code, performance, cost, maintainability. It is all about modernizing your applications, infrastructure, and processes to align with the industry standards. I'm sure this is the next question everyone will have in the mind. Why do we need to do modernization? So to answer this question in a simple language, modernization is required to allow for compatibility between legacy systems and modern software systems. If you see from organizational point of view, modernization is essential for organizations to remain competitive, innovative, agile, and efficient in today's world of digital landscape. So as per the predictions, the global mainframe modernization market is going to rise between 2024 to 2031. So it is started. We are in 2024. So here are some key areas of modernization initiatives: developer experience, the acronym is DevX, source code management, DevOps toolchain, CI/CD pipeline, infrastructure, SDLC process and analysis using telemetry, data management process, security, AI in mainframe. So in my presentation today, we will deep dive into each of these one by one. Developer experience. So what is developer experience and why we should care about it? DevX refers to the overall experience that developers have while using a particular set of tools, frameworks, or platforms to build the software. Over the past few decades, developers have witnessed an explosion of technologies, open source libraries, languages, services with more tools, APIs, integration, and whatnot. And as a result, everything developers would want or need is at their fingertips. While developers have access to the exponential amount of technology and tooling, they're on their own, figuring out how it will all work together. This also puts a lot of pressure on developers. A good DevX is really important because it enables developers to build the software with more confidence, drive greater impact, and developers should feel satisfied as well. DevX puts developers at the center and works to understand how they feel and think about the work they do. So developer experience, how you can achieve via ID, user interface, editors. IDs play a really very important role in the mainframe modernization. They provide developers with tools and features that streamline the development, testing, maintenance of the mainframe applications. Modern IDs have features like code completion, syntax highlighting, refactoring of code, which increases productivity and efficiency. The last but not least is arguably the best feature, that is immense extensibility. Editors support wide variety of languages, including mainframe languages. Multiple ways of debugging the code, meaning you can write and debug code without leaving the editor. They also provide a great collaboration when working with larger teams on code reviews. So here is the slide that shows top ID index. This is analyzed by popularity of programming languages. This shows the top two ID editor as of April 2024 is Visual Studio and Visual Studio Code. Here is the next slide that shows the modern and popular ID Visual Studio Code, which is used to provide modern developer experience for mainframe developers. BMC has implemented a VS Code extension to access mainframe datasets and members. So you see here the COBOL program with copybooks has been opened in the Visual Studio Code. And on the left side, datasets and members have been listed after connecting to particular mainframe server. My next screenshot is about active debug session. So that shows the COBOL program. So users can perform all debugging capabilities via this interface. So you take the example of COBOL, PL1, anything you can debug via this interface. All right, so moving on to our next key modern initiative is source code management. Imagine how difficult software development would have been without source code management. Imagine tracking hundreds of lines of code manually. It is no surprise that the market of source code management software was valued at $611.2 in 2021, and it is projected to reach $1,300 by 2030. Modernizing mainframe systems and SCM go hand in hand to improve development processes, collaboration, and efficiency. Updating mainframe source code management will boost teamwork, productivity, and better collaboration while performing code reviews or branching. It also cuts the cost by exploring cloud and open source options and handles bigger, complex applications with scalable solutions. Let's look at the next key. Okay, so I have a screenshot here. So this shows how the code flows through various levels throughout its life cycle. So if you can see, like I have these level structures, so production, whole level, QA environment, staging, and development. So your code will flow all throughout its life cycle via these levels. Again, this is a screenshot from BMC ME DevX code pipeline extension. Moving on to our next initiative, that is DevOps toolchain, CI/CD pipeline. Exciting, right? DevOps is a culture that combines development and operations. Have you ever imagined applying DevOps to the mainframe systems? But yes, DevOps replaces the traditional SDLC in which the problems are removed and more benefits are reaped. In DevOps, the key principle is continuous integration and continuous delivery. DevOps toolchain play a really very important role by streamlining the mainframe development, testing, deployment, and operation process. It also feels empowered. So all developers at all experience levels, they feel empowered and to increase the quality, velocity, and efficiency of software development and delivery. This eliminates the manual steps in the execution and helps team iterate and deliver faster. Automated monitoring systems detect mainframe issues in real time, triggering proactive troubleshooting to prevent operational disruption. DevOps practices emphasize collaboration and communication among development operations and other stakeholders. It provides enhanced visibility, improves agility and ability to respond to the changing business requirements. Overall, it provides greater reliability and stability. And the final result of DevOps toolchain, implementing DevOps toolchain, is it instills a culture of continuous learning and improvement, fostering innovation and adaptation to evolving industry trends. BMC's DevX core pipeline integrates into a cross-platform DevOps toolchain, including Jenkins, Digital AI Release, CloudBees Flow, HCL Launch, and many more, to enable the solution continuous build and deploy while ensuring the code quality. It can also connect to the modern DevOps toolchains using REST APIs, CLIs, and webhooks. The extensions for Jenkins, Azure, DevOps, and GitHub that automate CI/CD pipeline workflows. So these all qualities come under one umbrella when you implement DevOps toolchain in the mainframe modernization. Isn't that great? All right, moving on to our next key initiative, that is infrastructure. Remember the days when the software developers spent almost all their time developing software, when the only tools they had to master was like SCM, CI server, IDs. Were they directly related to software development? If not, it's probably because you weren't paying attention to software development prior to the rise of cloud native technology like Docker, Kubernetes, which blur the line between software development and infrastructure management. It requires a developer to learn more about infrastructure than they may like. I would like to ask audience here, are you using hybrid cloud like AWS, Azure, Google with the mainframe? How mature you are with this? Feel free to put your answers in the chat. Mainframe modernization in the infrastructure can be brought by various ways. First, let's look at the virtualization. So I think virtualization, we are very familiar. So it basically let user run multiple virtual instances of operating systems and applications on a single physical server, improving resource utilization, simplifying management, and reducing hardware costs. Migrate your workload to cloud offers benefits like scalability, flexibility, pay-as-you-go pricing, allowing organizations to reduce cost and increase agility. Technologies like Docker provide a lightweight and portable way to package, deploy, and manage application, that is containerization. Implementing automation and orchestration will help organizations achieve greater efficiency, consistency, and reliability in managing their IT infrastructure. With that said, let's move on to our next key initiative, that is SDLC process and analysis using telemetry. Did you know that telemetry comes from Greek? Tele means remote and metron means measure. Yes. So product telemetry plays a crucial role in optimizing the product performance, enhancing user experience, and driving business growth. Telemetry data provides real-time insights to the user. So it tells user how the processes are performing, and that is important for organizations to identify bottlenecks, inefficiencies, and areas of improvement. By tracking key performance indicators, also called as KPIs, through telemetry, companies can set benchmarks, track progress, and make data-driven decisions to drive continuous improvement. DORA 4 metrics help organizations gauge the effectiveness of their DevOps practices and identify areas of improvement. Here is the screenshot of BMC's Z Advisor product, which basically captures the telemetry and provides the metrics that helps organizations to basically make the data-driven decisions and drive continuous improvement. All right, moving on to our next initiative, that is data management process. So between the dawn of time and 2003, 5 exabytes of data had been created at Google. By 2010, this amount of data was being created every 2 days. And by 2021, it was being created every 40 minutes. There are approximately 400K bytes of data for every grain of sand on the earth. So this shows how fast the data is growing. Mainframes have a long history of handling large amounts of data. Data modernization is really essential in the mainframe world to unlock the full potential of their data assets, drive innovation, and maintain competitiveness. Migrating data from mainframe systems to cloud-based cloud databases, data lakes, or data warehouses creates a unified and comprehensive view for the organizations and makes them more agile, scalable, and efficient. By doing this, we also support advanced analytics and real-time insights and data-driven decision-making. So lots of benefits of doing the data management process for mainframe data. Moving on to our next initiative, security. I have some facts here about security threats. Let's look at this. 2023 saw a 72% increase in data breaches since 21, which held the previous all-time record. A data breach costs $4.45 million on an average. 94% of organizations have reported email security incidents. As organizations increasingly rely on digital technologies, cyber threats have become more prevalent and sophisticated. Who wouldn't like to prioritize product security over all? I'm sure everyone. It is very crucial to implement robust control to defend against these threats and safeguard sensitive information. Regulations like GDPR, HIPAA, PCI, DSS, and SOX impose the strict requirements for data protection and privacy. Okay, so the last key initiative, I'm sure everyone must be waiting for this, is last but not least, is AI in mainframes. So unlike other technological advancement with specific applications, AI permeates almost every sector imaginable, from healthcare to finance to entertainment and marketing. It is reshaping the way we interact with the world and with each other. So at its core, AI is all about mimicking human intelligence, but it goes beyond that. It's about augmenting our capabilities, automating tedious tasks, and offering insights that the human mind might overlook. So what is required for what is the fuel for AI? So obviously data is a fuel for AI. Yet there is source of valuable data that usually does not garner much attention, and it is coming from mainframe systems. They hold enormous amounts of data, which goes back decades for mission-critical operations. AI and mainframe is not going to be straightforward, but the benefits of AI are too important to ignore. The beauty of artificial intelligence lies in its ability to learn from vast amount of data, identify patterns, and adapt to new information, akin to how humans learn from experience. AI in mainframe environment is gaining a lot of traction to optimize performance, improve efficiency, and enhance decision-making. Also, AI algorithms can analyze performance data, mainframe data, to predict the potential hardware failure, performance bottleneck, which would help to proactively identify the issue before they occur. So this is really safeguarding the entire mainframe systems. AI and machine learning algorithms also can analyze large volumes of mainframe data to uncover the valuable insights and trends, which will help them to predictive analysis for forecasting business outcomes. You can also integrate with natural language processing, NLP, which will enable the conversational interface, which will allow user to interact with mainframe systems using natural language, making them more user-friendly and accessible. AI-powered cognitive assistants offer a real-time guidance for enhanced productivity and decision-making. Also, AI can be used in your contextual understanding. It anticipates user needs, tailors responses, and integrates seamlessly, enhancing capabilities and streamlining the workflows. BMC is making significant strides in the AI domain, showcasing a commitment to innovation and technological advancements. With a forward-thinking approach, BMC is leveraging AI to revolutionize various aspects of business operations, from streamlining processes to enhancing decision-making capabilities. So watch out for BMC ME DevX Code Explain and other AI-enabled capabilities in the mainframe world in our upcoming releases. So here we come to an end. So we have basically gone through all our key initiatives for modernization. And now it is time for Q&A.
Hey, Yugini, I don't see any questions in the chat, but that was really useful. Thanks so much for giving that. I have a couple of questions for you. What's your personal journey coming to the mainframe and modernizing it? Do you have a lot of experience with non-mainframe platforms that you personally find you're able to bring, or have you always grown up with the mainframe and you find the non-mainframe world the one that you have to learn? I wondered if you could speak to that. What's
Sure.
yeah.
Sure. So in my 20 years of experience journey, I spent 50 years of experience working in the web. So from past 5 years, I have been working in the mainframe world. And it was like a new world, entirely new world. I didn't know about like ABC of COBOL. Even today as well, I don't know the ABC. I'm still learning, but it was a totally different world. I worked through various roles in my 15 years of experience, like development, QA, automation, product management. But like when I jumped into this mainframe world, I was really stunned. Okay, so
So
this
when you say,
really
sorry to interrupt you, but when you say it was a new world, it almost, did you want to say it was an old world? Because often I find that with folks who are comfortable with Windows and Linux and other sort of UTF based things, file systems that just naturally grow and do what you want. When you come to the mainframe, did it feel like you were going back in time a little bit, and you're now having to bring that forward?
Yeah. So it was a new world for me, though it was old, because I never looked at that 3270 screen, and I said, yes, I just need practice of keyboard. I guess that's all I need. I'm ready to learn. So looking at the screen, it definitely looks like, okay, I'm going back to like many decades, but yes, that's where I guess I need to bridge that gap. So the thinking started at, okay, so modernization comes in various ways. So first of all, the interface, then like I mentioned in my presentation, so it was like interface, then you go for deployment, you go for SEM. So in all the areas in software development, you can basically bring the modernization in mainframe world. And it feels like you are basically renovating your old world with the new tools.
Yeah, and when you talk about SCM and COBOL, you're talking about the application developer, which is what this track is all about. It's all about the app dev as well, and debuggers and things. What about operationally? Because something that I know I still find very hard on a mainframe, and I talk to lots of people about, is it's very hard to operate it, to be able to look at how much memory and CPU, and it's
Yes.
it,
So
it's not
we do
similar.
have,
Sorry,
yeah.
go ahead.
Yep. So basically, I'm not actually under DevX portfolio. Like we do have products that basically take care of performance. So we have a fancy web interface that provides user how your mainframe servers are performing. So BMCME DevX stroke, and as you mentioned, like the abeyance or what is going wrong with your products, why the exceptions are occurring. So we have BMCME DevX abandoned for that. So that these products provide web interface for users, and also these generate reports for better understanding, provides graphical interface as well.
So from the point of view of development, so you're obviously learning COBOL. You probably did, you weren't using COBOL in your 15 years outside the mainframe. Maybe you were. COBOL does run on other platforms. What's your favorite language? What's the language that you're most comfortable with? Is it Java? Is it Python? Is it JavaScript? What's your weapon of choice?
Yes, so I started with C, and I did a lot of C programming. So when I was in college, I did C programming. I did C programming with graphics. And you won't believe, my background is I'm from civil engineering, so who build the houses, okay? And I created a first software in using C language, and that was the design of spillway. So if you are familiar with dams and spillways, so that was my first project in the college days, and I created a software with C and C graphics. So that's how my journey started. So after C, I learned C++, but my personal choice, in those days, I like Java. I did a lot of work in Java. I did a lot of certifications as well. And yeah, I think a lot of development. I have seen like Java from version like I guess 1.2 till going 1.8 now.
Wow, Java 1.2, that's quite a few years ago now. I'm trying to think, that's got to be in sort of, okay. So C is really interesting. Civil engineering, that's phenomenal. So have you ever written any C or LE language environment or Metal C on the mainframe platform? Because that's quite a rare skill to have. And it's a very much in demand one, because you can do things like, very low level, all of the really difficult monitoring products and security products that have to be, highly performant and be able to work in customers' production regions, but without, having too much drag. They're mostly written in C and assembler. I wonder why you're moving towards Java, which is more of like a business language.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. So we do have like support for like COBOL C. So I work on VS Code extensions mainly in my organization, and we do support like COBOL, PL1, C, assembler. So like I see, like when I work with C, I see, okay, this is my familiar language, but COBOL is like, we don't need to teach COBOL because it is self-explanatory, I say. Like once you know the syntax semantics, you are good to go.
Yeah, COBOL developers always, they brag about the fact that, you have a move, it just moves stuff. You have it is quite a simple human readable language. And also it doesn't have, Java, I often think of Python and Node, they're very much based around package managers. So often your job is to not write code, is to find somebody else that's written it already and grab in their libraries, which is a gift and a curse, because then you have to make sure that you trust them. But you end up, building things that other people have given you, rather than C and COBOL, which is, I think, is often, you just go in, you write things, it gets compiled and it runs.
Right. Yeah.
It's a very different.
It is different. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, you're sort of making a meal with whatever you have in your backpack. So I have another question for you. So what do you think? You talked a little bit about AI. I wonder if you could expand upon that. What do you think is exciting about that? Because that's a huge buzzword right now. And a lot of what people are trying to do probably will fizzle out because they just bet the wrong horse. Where do you think are the real growth areas to get sort of AI and large language models behind mainframe modernization?
Right. So what I feel is like with the old force retiring or like a new generation onboarding, I think I see the need of AI because, as I said, like COBOL is easy to understand, but there needs to be some starting point. And I'm sure like in the organizations, like if you are hiring new generation who have like they never learned COBOL. So nowadays, like I guess COBOL or PL1, these languages are not in their syllabus as well, in the college syllabus. So I guess AI is going to be useful in that space because if you have like, okay, this is my COBOL program, I don't know anything, but I'm providing AI capability. I'm just selecting a piece of code in the editor and I'm asking, okay, can you explain me this? It is as simple as that. So I see the need where like next generation is onboarding and they really want to modernize these systems. We need to provide these hooks in the product so that I think AI-enabled products will work amazingly in that scenario. Also, let's take the example of code reviews. So code reviews, I guess, certain organizations follow certain checklist. Okay, if these things are done, code review is done, something like that. So if we basically feed these type of things to our AI model, I think this is going to save a lot of time and efforts. And I guess mainframe programs, they are huge, million lines of program. And I think having AI capabilities in this world is definitely going to add value. So I'm just taking the example of two things, but I think there are going to be various scenarios where we can basically introduce AI.
No, I think you're right. I love that. I mean, I get excited about, I know that like refactoring code is very difficult to do, but if you're taking an application that was built perhaps where people were using a 3270 to log on, and now you have to refactor it because you want to have a web or a mobile, introduce some web services or some REST APIs or something in front. You want to make sure that you do it without changing the original application too much, but you have to refactor it. And if you make mistakes, you can really hurt. So I think AI refactoring, explainability, definitely. I like, yeah, code reviews. I know if somebody joins a new company, they'll start writing things the way they've always been used to. So they won't know the library of all of the code modules or the naming standards. But it would be wonderful if all of that could just be learned by looking at the existing code base, so that literally as they're writing, it will just come along and say, oh, well, why didn't you reuse this code module? Or why don't you, follow this naming convention? Or creating tests is something interesting. I don't know what you think about creating test-driven development.
Yes, that is going to save so much time, like creating test or test data, or just resolving the inconsistencies. Many a times, like everyone has their own style of writing code, right? So like some developers are used to writing nice comments for every procedure they create or every routine they create. But I think we need to get maybe something streamlined approach. So I think that's where we can use AI, like just the commenting. You have it in your product, like AI enabled commenting, code commenting, something like that. And I think that will basically add a lot of value for the newcomers, like who is reading code first time.
And then do you think that will be so some AI, so I use things like, Copilot and ChatGTP and things like that, just in my personal life. They're really, really powerful.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
use all of the knowledge that they've crawled from, Wikipedia or social media sites and things. So
Mhm.
they give everybody the same answer. But a lot of companies have their own internal things about how they built their applications as well. So I don't know what you think about AI. Do you think companies will want to train the AI based upon what they have and keep that to themselves because that's their value for their employees and how their craft that they put together? Or do you think it's more of a public domain?
Yeah, I think companies wouldn't be comfortable like sending their data in the public domain. Security is the main concern, as I mentioned in my presentation. So having something in the private cloud where you like you have your models deployed there, and I think you train them based on your data. I guess that will probably the right approach for the organizations who hold basically sensitive information, because public domain, I personally am not comfortable.
Well, give it, yeah, that's very, I mean, you have the concepts of like synthetic generation and how do you take things and you can mask it, obviously. Yeah, it's,
Yeah,
yeah, you need to make sure that you're not going to end up being,
exactly.
a victim of fraud or something like that, or
Yep.
lose your, or in certain geographies, you have things like DORA and GDPR and personal information. And I know healthcare information is very protected by law. People's health is their personal life. It's just between them and their healthcare provider. Nobody else needs to know.
Yeah, no one is going to like their health records to be shared or put it on the offsite. I guess very sensitive data.
It is for sure. Yeah, so you and I are just having a little chat at the moment. If anybody else wants to post a question in the chat, just that's fine. If anybody wants to come off mute, just ask. Just for various reasons, we don't unmute everybody by default. It just gets a bit noisy sometimes. People's cats come in the background and the doorbells ring or things like that. So so the other thing that I hear a lot about is communities. So how do you interact? So empowering legacy, what would you say to somebody that was new to mainframe, perhaps like yourself, you come in 15 years experience from outside? Where's the way to go? I mean, online training courses or, go to online conferences like this one or go to LinkedIn, or do you have your favorite places to go to and also the places that you think people should stay away from?
Yes, I would suggest. So I use LinkedIn Learning a lot when I was new to this world, like mainframe world. Also, I took some courses online, YouTube videos, quick to understand. So there is a lot of help. Like you just type like, okay, I want to learn debugging the COBOL program. So you get many videos likewise. So in different clients, so either in ISPF screen or in Eclipse based screen. So you will find a lot of information in the YouTube. Also, LinkedIn Learning is a good way to do that. So if your organization holds like the free account for that, I guess it is a go-to way. Before joining BMC, I used to have like a lot of courses on Udemy. So I used to follow Udemy courses as well. So I found them really very helpful.
That's a wonderful. I've not done LinkedIn. Les, do they give you access to a system? Because one of the things I hear from people who are new to Z is they can do sort of academic courses fairly quickly, but after a while, they want to be able to dive in and start writing JTL, break things, compiling. So they want to have a login to a system, which is very hard to procure a mainframe at home. They're expensive things that have to come on trucks.
Yeah, that must be expensive because like I guess logging in like to the mainframe server. So are you talking about like home tutoring
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so yeah, obviously once you've joined the company, you
Oh,
might have
I see.
access to. So I know things like IBM Z Explore, I think
Right.
Interskill give you some. It's a question. I don't know what did you
Yeah,
find it
probably
difficult?
virtualization can make this easy because if you have a physical server on your laptop, if you spin up the VM or any like virtual machine having ZOS installed, I guess it is easy for you to try out these things. And IBM ZOS has like lot of documentation. So I guess learning at home is also a good way, following the documentation. So I would go for that. Like virtualization is the best option. Like you can spin up the VM. I'm sure like you will have to invest some money in that, but I guess it will be there forever for you.
Cool. And I have one more quick question. Well, do you want to ask a question to anybody that's in the room or not before I ask you a last question?
Sure. So I would like to ask, like, if people in the room are from mainframe world, like, how do they bring modernization in their organization, or what are the things they look forward to have modernized in the mainframe world?
It's a great question. I don't see any responses. If anybody wants to come off mute, just let me know, buzz me in the room, and I'll make them off mute if you want to. While that's going on, the one question I'd like to ask you is when you joined the mainframe world 5 years ago in your sort of 20-year career, 15 years, what would you wish was different? So if you had an infinite pot of money and an infinite team to fix something in the ecosystem so that other people walking the same journey that you've done, but now as opposed to 5 years ago, what do you think would have been the biggest thing, the biggest change that can be done to make that glide path easier for the generation coming after you?
It's a very good question. So, so basically, like the hurdles which I faced is like I learned mainframe from the product which was not up to the mark, like it was not ready for the complete modernization. So I had lots of difficulties learning that. So if there is a handy way, like the commands, I had a lot of trouble like driving into the 3270 screen. I'm still learning that. But if there is a good way or videos around that, I think it would have made my life easier. And because, you know, like unless and until you try out the legacy systems, you won't understand, okay, where you want to bring the modernization, what is the pain point currently. If you keep modernizing in silos without understanding the pain points, there is no way actually it will get right.
It's really interesting, and that's actually an area where AI could actually help, couldn't it? You could have the 3270, you could almost have like a chatbot or a sidecar, and you could just say, I want to do something. You know, I want to create a Unix file system. I want to install some new software. And it just literally says, run these options, and then maybe you click it and it did. I don't know, it's just a thought, but you have that learning.
Very good use case. I guess new joinees would love if we have that type of feature, like having legacy and modern screen side by side and teaching them likewise. I like that idea.
Yeah, because sometimes I meet people on 3270 screens. It's funny, you called it 3270, and the Americans call it 3270. It's this wonderful kind of like international thing. It's a bit like the word HICS and CICS or Z and Z and things. But I often find that when people become productive on it, they're actually extremely powerful. It's like watching a master, an amazing sculptor can take a piece of rock and a hammer and a chisel and create something beautiful out of it, right? Some people use 3D printers instead, but they're still creating objects of art using incredibly high-tech tools or very primitive tools that we've been using for thousands of years. So it's interesting, isn't it? But the end result is the same. And nobody should really have to change what they want to do, right? They're still artists, and mainframers on a 3270, I think, are still very productive if that's what they're comfortable with. We shouldn't be forcing people to leave or go to whatever's the latest technology, whether it's VS Code today, there'll be something else in 5 and 10 years' time. It's really about being productive. Hey, you have a question in the chat as well, which is great. Can you see, or I can read it to you?
I can see.
Great, fantastic.
Okay, So that's really good. So if you know Z, so if you have learned Z, and I guess if you want to get the real world experience, join the company that works in the mainframes. And like this is going to be like really good combination of like having knowledge of mainframes and the organization which is into modernization. So that will be a good combination. So yeah, I think I would suggest to like join the organization that promotes the modernization and into the mainframe world.
Can you just repeat the question quickly, just for the
Sure.
just for the purpose of the playback, if it's on video?
Yes.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give to the new graduates from university who has completed Z Explore, also learning some course on interskill and want to have a real world experience working with mainframe? Giving recommendations would be great, please. So yeah,
Yes.
as I
Yeah,
said
I loved your
earlier, like
answer.
you need to find the organizations who work, and I'm sure like there are many such who are working in mainframe world, because if you see, we have like banking, insurance, credit card companies, they all run on mainframes. So I think world is like, it is a sky is the limit, I would say.
Yeah, that's absolutely, yeah. So you're absolutely right. There are the end users, the financial institutions, the government agencies with mainframes. There's also as well, I mean, you work for BMC. So there's a lot of software vendors who build products and have subject matter experts. And I know I work for IBM personally, you work for BMC. There's a lot of other people all over the space, Vitali, who sponsor this conference as well. Broadcom is a huge, so you can often consider a career working for a software vendor, a software company as well, an IT company as well. A great place, you mentioned LinkedIn. My suggestion would be get yourself a good profile on LinkedIn, work on that, get a nice photograph that's professional of your face, and start just expressing influence in certain tags like hashtag mainframe and things, and just start to join bits of the community, and you'll find Discord is a community that has something called System Z Enthusiasts, and they even have a particular thing called available for work, need work and things.
Right.
You have another question. Do you want to take that one as well?
There is a group on LinkedIn as well. So it is like mainframe communities. They really post a lot of good things. And yeah, I think if you start following that group, you'll definitely find something. Yep.
Yeah, so Sandeep just asked a question as well. And the question, I'll read it to you. Do you suggest any IBM or BMC modernization learning path for existing mainframe professionals, i.e. AWS Blue Age accreditation? You want to take that question?
BMC modernization learning path. So yeah, actually, so if you look at the modern IDs or editors by IBM or BMC and start learning, because if you have background of mainframes, I think you will definitely get the understanding like how these companies have modernized the overall developer experience for mainframe developers. So these extensions are in the marketplace and I think available to try out. Also, it comes with the ready help. So in the extension itself, there is a help. Also, BMC has wiki documentation. Go to the community, post the question if you have anything.
Absolutely. I mean, the thing that I would suggest for anybody thinking of a career is, so I work a little bit at IBM, and occasionally I get to interview folks. And one of the first things I do is I'll have a look and see if they have any badges, like Credly badges.
Mm-hmm.
Those are very, very good if you can get some of those Credly badges. Consider joining a panel, or if you want to present at a virtual conference like this one. There's a lot of virtual conferences, so they have quite a low cost to entry. You don't have to put yourself on a plane, book a hotel, or get somebody to fund that. Yes. And all of that will increase your eminence and awareness. And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to ask a question. It's a bit like if you're driving a car and you're following a learner driver and they're a little bit slow, you know, just be patient and slow down, because we were all learner drivers once. And you know, if we don't have learner drivers, we don't have everybody else driving cars. So don't be afraid to ask questions. And definitely on LinkedIn, there's a couple of people I can think of who are working universities, like Dr. Cameron Say or Herbert Daly, and others like that. And once you start to see the community, you can just ask them questions, and you'll find a lot of help from people who are basically
These
supporting the
communities
community.
are really very active, so you will be answered very soon when you post the question. So yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much for the questions. And again, and a quick question for you, if people want to reach out to you on LinkedIn, is that okay if some of the people here can connect with you and follow the conversation?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. And just general from an IBM point of view, I'm not trying to push IBM, but IBM has something called IBM Z Explore, and I think that popped up a little bit in the chat. It used to be called Master the Mainframe. It was renamed for lots of good reasons. If you do the IBM Z Explore and you finish it and you get, I think there's level 1, level 2, level 3. If you finish level 3, then there's like a competition for everybody that finishes level 3. And the 3 people that win that competition, good things happen to those people. You know, they you know, IBM sponsors them to, you know, come and speak at conferences in nice cities and gives them free hardware, and almost always hires those 3 people and people like that. So that's a kind of a.
If I go to IBM site, I should find this IBM Z Explore.
Yeah, I'll post it in the chat really quickly, just because we're coming to the end. I'll just post a link as well. This is such a great session. I'll post the feedback if people want to give feedback to the session. There's a link, and all feedback is appreciated. When you give the feedback, it will ask you for your ID number for who you were. You don't have to fill it in, but if you do want to, when you go to the registration site, I think it's available there. IBM Z Explore, I just posted a link to that as well. Yeah, and when you join the IBM Z Explore learning platform as well, you're given a user ID on a system. You're also given access to a Slack channel. You can access Slack on your phone or whatever, and you end up networking with tens of thousands of other people on the channel. And once you go into that, you'll see lots of people asking the same sort of questions you are, all at different parts of their career.
Okay. Sure, I'll check out. Thanks for this.
Awesome. So I'm just gonna silently clap. Everybody else would be clapping in the room if we were all here in the room.
Thank you so
but this
much.
is a virtual entrance. So really good session. And again, if anybody wants to stay in touch, please use social media. You're all welcome to leave. I'll stay here. I'll be the last one to leave the room. Thanks very much. It was an excellent session. It was really, really good.
Thank you so much. Bye. Have a good day.